In the heart of the new kingdom, Egypt's most glorious age, rose a king who will become the greatest conqueror in Egyptian history. A man who fought more battles, led more campaigns, and expanded Egypt's borders farther than any other pharaoh before him. His name was Thutmose III, remembered by historians as a Napoleon of ancient Egypt. But while Napoleon's empire eventually crumbled, Thutmose's legacy endured, leaving behind temples, monuments, and a story of power that still echoes across the sands of time. Thutmose III was born around 1481 BCE, the son of Pharaoh Thutmose II and one of his secondary wives, Isis. Because of this, he was not the most powerful heir. His stepmother, Queen Hatshepsut, the great royal wife, would dominate his early life. When Thutmose II died, the boy was too young to rule. Hatshepsut stepped in as regent, but soon she did something shocking. She crowned herself pharaoh. For nearly 20 years, Hatshepsut ruled Egypt, wearing the false beard of kingship, leading expeditions, and leaving behind monuments that still inspire us today. And while she held power, young Thutmose waited in the shadows. But Hatshepsut did not cast him aside completely. She ensured he was trained in the military arts, horsemanship, archery, and strategy. By the time he was old enough to rule, Thutmose was already a skilled soldier and commander. When Hatshepsut passed away, Thutmose finally took full control of the throne. He was about 22 years old, and from the start, he was determined to prove himself. Unlike Hatshepsut, who focused on trade and internal stability, Thutmose wanted conquest. He would not only restore Egypt's dominance, but expand it beyond anything his ancestors had imagined. Over the course of his reign, Thutmose III led at least 17 military campaigns. His enemies were many: rebellious Canaanite kings, powerful Mitanni warriors in Mesopotamia, and the Nubians to the south. His armies marched thousands of miles, covering lands from the Euphrates in modern-day Iraq to the fourth cataract of the Nile in Sudan. But his greatest triumph, the one that defined him, was the Battle of Megiddo in 1457 BCE. The Canaanite princes, tired of Egyptian control, formed an alliance and fortified the city of Megiddo. Thutmose's generals advised caution, to take the safer routes around the mountains. But Thutmose chose the most dangerous path, a narrow mountain pass where his army could be ambushed. It was a gamble, but it worked. His army surprised the enemy, scattering their forces and surrounding Megiddo. The siege lasted 7 months, but in the end, victory belonged to Egypt. Thutmose III's triumph at Megiddo was so complete that it set the stage for Egyptian dominance over the Levant for the next century. Victory brought more than land. It brought wealth. From Syria and Canaan flowed gold, silver, copper, horses, and tribute. Captured princes and their families were brought to Egypt, raised at court, and taught Egyptian ways, ensuring loyalty for future generations. He even brought back exotic plants and animals, creating the world's first recorded botanical garden at Karnak. Giraffes, elephants, and rare trees were displayed as symbols of Egypt's global power. Like all great pharaohs, Thutmose III left his mark in stone. He expanded the temple of Amun at Karnak, constructing pylons, statues, and obelisks. He inscribed his victories on temple walls, proudly listing the towns and territories he had conquered. His monuments were not just for the gods. They were propaganda, a reminder to every Egyptian that their king was unstoppable. Thutmose III ruled for 54 years, one of the longest reigns in Egyptian history. In his later years, he co-ruled with his son Amenhotep II, preparing him to continue the dynasty. When Thutmose died around 1425 BCE, he was buried in the Valley of the Kings, his tomb filled with treasures and inscriptions that celebrated his conquests. Historians compare him to Napoleon, a military genius, a conqueror who expanded his nation's borders farther than ever before. But unlike Napoleon, Thutmose's empire did not collapse after his death. Instead, it became the foundation for Egypt's golden age, a time of wealth, power, and cultural brilliance. Thutmose III was not only a warrior king. He was a visionary, a builder, and a ruler whose story has survived for more than 3,000 years. This is the story of Thutmose III, the warrior pharaoh, the true Napoleon of ancient Egypt. Sparkles, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories of the pharaohs who shaped history.